Listener-supported, volunteer-powered. We are KPOV Bend, Oregon, and this is Merle Evers.
The views and opinions expressed during the following show are solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect that of KPOV or High Desert Community Radio.
She's a real woman with a real life. She's someone you can relate to. Open Air with Dawn Newton.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Open Air. I'm your host, Dawn Newton. You are listening to 889 KPOV, your High Desert Community Radio, where we are streaming live online 24 hours a day at kpov.org. You can find us on all the social platforms, which is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That would be KPOV Bend. You can find me there as well as Dawn Newton. Coming up on today's show, I've got special guests in studio, musical guests, local artists, local musicians. JustUsWorx is here in studio, and we're listening to one of the tracks off of their new CD, JustUsWorx, River of Lost Souls. You're listening to High Class Woman, and we're going to listen to that a little bit, and then I'm going to introduce you to the band, take a quick break, and just talk that and play some more music, and just going to be a fun show today, talking about especially bringing on our local musicians, giving them the spotlight, and as we can do here on Open Air for the next 55 minutes or so. So stay tuned, enjoy this music. There's going to be more to come, and you're going to get to know this band, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When I see that woman, really hopping in the sand. She wears painted on jeans, cut down kind of low. She wears painted on jeans, how they fit her, I don't know. And when she peels them off, say, baby, come on. Got a high-class woman, keeps me up all night long. Got a high-class woman, made me write her this here song. And now I know better, I wanted her all along.
Time to flash forward into the past on the Psychedelic Protest with me, the other one, right here on KPOV 88.9 High Desert Community Radio, Saturdays noon to 2.
Oh, San Francisco girls with...
Hi, everybody, wherever you may be. This is Bill Shanley, and you're listening to Dawn Newton, Rip City, baby.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Open Air. I'm your host, Dawn Newton. Like I said, you were just listening to the title track to JustUsWorx, their CD, River of Lost Souls. That was High Class Woman. We've got more tracks we'll be playing, songs that we'll be playing here throughout the hour. But first, I want to introduce you to the band JustUsWorx. Mike Ogden, I appreciate you coming in. Make sure everybody's mic is on. Charlie Ewing and Eric Anderson.
It's me.
I appreciate you guys coming in. Thanks for reaching out.
Thanks.
We love to give attention to our locals. Okay, so Just Us, that's what I remember, and now we're JustUsWorx.
Right.
When did you guys come together?
You mean originally?
Yeah.
So,
whose idea was this?
Well, it was actually Charlie and I and a couple other people, and that's how the band started. It was a blues rock band, and that was probably 12 years ago, 10 years ago, something like that. I'm not exactly sure. And since then, the band has changed a lot. People have left. people have come on, and so now there's 4 of us, and
Mike is not here.
right. There's Mike Ayers is our keyboard player, and he also sings and plays guitar a little bit, but he couldn't make it, and
He's too pretty for radio anyway.
and he also writes some pretty nice songs. So it's too bad he couldn't show up. But then there's the 3 of us. Charlie and I are probably it's the longest term players in the band, and we've just kept at it, and gone through all the changes. Now we're a blues rock soul funk band is the way I like to, and we're doing more and more soul and funk, and a lot more in bars, whatever, playing classic rock as well, because that's pretty popular. Yeah.
Your website says
people
it's
like too.
yeah, rock and roll the way it ought to be played. Who coined that phrase?
That's Eric, our funny guy.
It's proper rock and roll.
What does that mean?
Well, okay, I was trying to describe this to my kids and saying, you guys need to listen to good quality rock and roll. And they were like, Dad, your rock and roll is sort of the music of old people. I'm going, yeah, but it's the right kind of rock and roll. So that's the kind of that we like to play. And stuff we all grew up with, which makes it a lot of fun to play.
And that's and so when you guys came together, did you know each other? Like how did this band get formed? Did you know?
Well, I knew Charlie. Well, this was quite a while back, and we used to play in these different jam sessions at bars, and they just come together, and you get up and you can play 2 songs, and they're different musicians, and Charlie was always there, and I was going for that, but I got sick of playing in the jam sessions. I wanted to have my own band, and so we started it out together with some other people, a different bass player, and I think it was only a 3-piece at that point.
Yeah.
And then we just kept on going, finally getting some gigs, and we actually have 2 albums. We recorded a first album, and then we just get more and more gigs and kept on playing, and there was changes in the band, and finally there was a change. The bass player was leaving the band, and we found Eric. We were super lucky to get Eric.
Absolutely.
I was playing with a different band at the time. I was playing with the Jackwagon Blues Band. Shout out to my Jackwagon buddies out there, good guys and gals. But somebody had said, "Hey, there's a band over here, and they're looking for a bass player. Would you be interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know, maybe, I don't know." So I get the album that we've been listening to here, and I started listening to it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're so much better than me." So a lot of practice, a lot of woodshedding after that. But I'm just really excited to be playing with all these guys because they're good musicians. It's fun.
Well, Charlie, Charlie, I want to put you on the hot seat.
Okay.
Each one of you is going to get it.
Dun, dun, dun.
So just on your bio, I was reading that ask anyone around Central Oregon music scene who the best drummers are, and Charlie's name always comes up.
Well, I don't know about the best, but maybe Smiling Charlie.
Yeah.
Says you can do it all: Latin, funk,
But
jazz.
I did run jam nights for several years.
So how long have you been playing drums?
Since I was 10.
I was going to say, who gifted you the drum set? Did your parents, were they happy with that?
Yeah. So yeah, my dad, he was strict, and he made my sister and I, as soon as we turned 4, take piano lessons, and then when I turned 10, I was kind of sick of piano. It was a discussion that this is a musical family, you have to play an instrument. So
Tell me about that.
The most irritating thing was to
the drums.
Get drums, and he bought me a drum set and everything else, and I ended up just loving it. So afterwards, no pressure, then just practicing was easy,
So you've been playing drums since you were 10.
Right. I mean, I took breaks to raise family.
You played in high school.
Yeah,
bands
grade
then.
school, intermediate, high school, and then kind of didn't do the college route. So.
Do you play any other instruments?
I used to play piano. I can't remember hardly anything.
And so when you said the family was musical, tell me about that. I'm curious. Did you family jam sessions or?
Oh yeah, I used to play with my dad, and my sister played sax. So
That's kind of cool.
after she quit the piano, so
And then, do you all have adult children?
Yes.
What do they think of your watching you guys jam out in the band? I think that's pretty cool.
They don't really think it's
They don't think it's cool. When they see Dad up there.
They're just like, yeah. My daughter's like, okay, it's Dad doing that thing, yeah. And I try to get them to, and they come to some of our gigs, and but I guess they've just grown up with that. I'm always playing music, and it's not the music that they like the best, and but they do like it. It's funny, the younger generation really likes classic rock. I think it's good, like you said, good rock and roll.
Absolutely.
Well, it's funny to watch that stuff come back around.
Yeah.
That pendulum swing of with the generations and what comes back. That's kind of cool again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Eric, let's talk to you.
Okay. Well, let's see. Musical family. Yeah, my mom was actually a music teacher and went to Juilliard and did all that fun stuff. So I clearly didn't want to do any of that and got away from music altogether. And so I had this big guy. I played saxophone in high school and stuff, but I kind of took this giant gap, and then about 25 years ago, I decided I wanted to play something, and I picked up the bass again. And, I started playing with all the big bands. I was playing with Joe Bonamassa, ZZ Top. Anybody I had records for, I was playing with them, so on the records. and really, that's kind of how I started learning how to play, and just so I could play specific songs. And I had taken this one course to kind of teach me a little bit about the guitar, and so I was at church and said, "Hey, if you guys need a bass player here, I'll be glad to." And he said, "Yeah, we really do." And I thought, "Oh no, now I actually have to perform." So it was a slow process, but got there over the years, and just have been having so much fun with it ever since.
Now, do all three of you write? Or four will include Mike in that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
not
maybe
me.
Charlie. No.
Yeah.
And do you collaborate, or how do you guys do that process? Do you sit down together, or
Some
just
collaboration?
Some
of
collaboration.
course, in a band.
One person will come up with an idea. It's a melody, it's something like that, or a riff, whatever it be. And then everybody takes their instrument and their talent and says, okay,
Just kind of build
I know
on
what
it.
we need to do there, and I'll build my piece onto that too. And then, so we collaborate. Sometimes somebody will write some music, and others will write lyrics and all that fun stuff.
you guys have a good time?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's the only problem with practice is that we're always like, ooh, let's play this song. Yeah,
Right,
let's do
right.
that one.
Well, how often do you guys get together to practice? What is it?
Twice a week.
Twice a week.
Wednesdays and Sundays. So,
right.
hey, today's Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday, and we're playing music.
Right.
That's right.
This is a good segue. Let's play another song.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we're going to do, what do we have?
Love's Gonna.
Love's Gonna. And this is JustUsWorx off their album, River of Lost Souls.
Right.
Love
You are listening to Open Air with Don Newton on 88.9 KPOV High Desert Community Radio.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Open Air. I am your host, Dawn Newton, and you've been listening to, and we've been talking with the band JustUsWorx, and we were listening to Love's Gonna off their album River of Lost Souls. Now, Mike, I wanted to ask you, as well as Charlie and Eric, when you're writing these songs, like this one in particular, how the meaning behind them, or like sometimes we'll hear from musicians, artists, that this particular album represented a time in life, or this is when I was going through this, or whatever. Talk about that. Does that apply to this album?
Yeah, certainly. There's actually a lot of the songs are, people ask, so what is the song Lies about? Was that one particular, woman, or, and in actuality, it's, just different experiences, with different people. So it's not just one person. Love's Gonna was just basically it's a love song, but it's not really all that happy. Love's gonna make you angry. Love's gonna make you cry. So and I've been, like my wife or my daughters, they said, "Geez, Dad, that's not very." That's kind of dark. I go, well,
but it had a good beat.
Right. But, there's also good parts in that song, whereas, the words it's all about love, and how you got to stick yourself out there, you don't get anything back if you don't give it out, and that's Love's Gonna.
Well, and each song really has its own different kinds of the personality of the person who is starting the process really shows up. We had one where Mike Ayers, who's not here today, he wrote this kind of really beautiful melody, and I decided I was going to write the lyrics for it, and it just ended up being more of a kind of a play on words poetry session. And the song's called Surrender. It's not on the album yet, so maybe on the next one.
Are you working on a third one?
Yeah.
Sure you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're
always working on
always
the next
working.
one.
we're getting a lot of songs together.
Yeah.
But it really takes a lot of work to get an album to
I
come
bet.
together. And this one, River of Lost Souls, we recorded it in Charlie's living room. We got recording software, and Charlie and I taught ourselves how to use it. We recorded the songs, right. And actually this whole album is it's a live album, because everything was recorded live in his living room. We didn't overdub, you didn't put guitarist in one special studio and somebody else in another one. We just all played together, and we did it like 3 or 4 times, and we picked the best one. And then our sound engineer, Clay Smith, Sound Smith Studios,
shout out to Clay.
He's amazing sound engineer, and he was able to make that live recording sound as good as it does.
How long did it take you to put it together?
It was like about a year. So.
And did you have to edit songs? Like, was there, like, we have how many songs on here? Was there some you needed to eliminate? Did you have like, oh gosh, which ones are we going to put on here?
No, we knew which ones.
We knew which ones, but Mike had already written a few more songs by the time we got that done. So we have some new songs.
Yeah, we've got about 2.
Right.
5 songs or so, maybe even more that we've started on. They're not ready.
We have enough probably for another whole new album, but just doing that is so much work and everything. We're going to actually make some professional videos to put on our website first, and then we're going to start on the album.
Nice.
But the other thing about this album, River of Lost Souls, is the very last song in it, and which we're not going to play, is a Kenny Loggins song. And basically, it was recorded in my kitchen using really crummy plastic, recorder, and the person singing it was a friend of mine, and this was in Durango, Colorado, like about 40 years ago.
Wow.
And that's what's on the very end of this album. And it took a lot of work to get it to sound like it does. We added, bass, added drums, added keyboards, and everything to it.
Is it difficult to get, or how do you achieve that cohesiveness with the band, where everybody's pretty much in sync? I'm sure you maybe have experienced in other bands where maybe that hasn't happened, or do you just kind of, this isn't working? Do you work harder at, like, what is that like when that happens?
When it works or when it doesn't work?
Both. Well, when it works, obviously.
I'm going to say, because of, you're trying to nail us down to who's exactly in the band. Well, there's been a lot of changes.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes because of, and you see all this stuff on TV, they're like, this band, they can't get along and they're not doing. But I'll just have to say, these four guys that are in this band now, I love them. It's so good to work with them. Well, and there's just life events that happen, growing in different directions, family, work, relocating, passion. I mean, it may not necessarily be that the personalities don't necessarily get along. It's just the life things that happen as well, the commitment.
And I think with this band, too, and this was, I joined after this album, so this is how I learned about JustUsWorx. And it was like, Ed, who played bass before, and is an absolute bass genius. And so it was like, oh man, I've got a lot of work to do. So I spent a lot of time learning all the riffs and everything. But what I bring and what Charlie brings and the Mike and Mike bring are all different things. And so it's really nice for us right now, because when we collaborate, we all have different things we can bring to it. It's like, oh, wait a minute, what if we did this instead? It'd be like, oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. Let's try that. And just, it's building with Legos. So it's like, oh, let's put that one there. Let's put this one here. Let's try it. And it really comes out pretty interesting.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I was curious, like during COVID, what'd you guys do?
Well, I built a studio in my backyard.
Nice.
It took about 6 months. I had a neighbor of mine help me, and we started out, pouring concrete and doing it. Now we have a nice studio which we practice in twice a week. We record in. It's just great to have that, space separate from the house.
And I can attest to the fact that it's better than playing in somebody's living room, because I've done that, or in somebody's garage.
I bet Charlie appreciates that too.
You've got to do that. You got to do it. But
Yeah. And so during COVID, because there wasn't any music being played in bars or anywhere, and so that was a problem. And I just built a studio during that. Also, I got COVID twice, so.
You paid your dues.
Yeah.
And, well, let's play another song.
Okay.
This one's called Dreams. And who wrote that one? You did?
Yes, I did.
How quickly does it take you to, or long, or how that process when you're writing? Does it sometimes come real fast?
Sometimes fast, sometimes a long time.
Words come first, music come first. What starts, or can it be either one?
Music, and then I put words to it, and then and Dreams is kind of a long song, and so people always ask, because they think, well, you're having these dreams about this woman, who is that? And I go, well, just like I was saying before, it's not really any particular woman. It's just the idea of having an old love that you can't forget.
We're talking with JustUsWorx, and we're going to be playing Dreams from their album River of Lost Souls.
Living a simple life, close my eyes, I see you in my dreams. I see you in my dreams. You wake me up in the night. It makes me mad to think you're still here in my life. I can't forget you, baby, in the middle of the night.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Open Air. I'm your host, Dawn Newton. You've been listening from JustUsWorx. We've got the band members in studio, I should say. Mike Ogden, Charlie Ewing, and Eric Anderson. Mike Ayers wasn't able to make it, which is totally fine. We'll catch you next time, Mike. But I appreciate you guys coming in.
Thanks.
And sharing the music and reaching out to us so we can get our local musicians the time that they deserve. And we were just listening to Dreams.
Yep.
Off that. And we're going to try and get some more music in too before that hour. We've got about 12 minutes or so. Talk about, so you're playing at venues around town, and we'll talk about the schedule that you've got coming up. But you also do private gigs. I mean, I know for a fact you do private gigs.
Yeah.
I think we might be having you come to a retirement party, Daryl. Just for the heck of it. We might have to do that.
Put that on your calendar, please.
We'll figure that out, or something. I'm not sure, but yes, and you guys do a great job. And I know because you just full disclosure, you played at my husband's retirement party, and it was just a really good time. Just good music, cover songs, original songs, all of it. So
it's got to be danceable.
Yes.
That's kind of the key.
And one thing we were talking about before we went on air too is the locations that you like to play at. You really like to be at venues where kids and dogs and the family and everybody, all ages, are there just having a really good time.
Right.
You told a quick story about a young boy that said he wanted to be in a band.
Right.
Play rock and roll, play guitar.
Yeah, so when I grow up, I want to be in a rock and roll band, play guitar in a rock and roll band. I said, well, you can't do both. He goes, what? I said, you're not going to be growing up if you're playing in a rock and roll band. So, he looked at me like, what?
Mom! So let's talk about the schedule that you have coming up. You guys have quite a bit this summer. And I'm sure this is there's going to be a lot filled in between.
Right.
Your next upcoming gig is June 3rd at Checkers.
Yep.
And that's in Redmond.
Right. She's closing down shop.
I was just going to say, it says Checkers Pub Farewell Party in Redmond.
Yeah. Sad.
We've played there a lot.
Yes.
I mean, they're great people, so this will be we're going to play our hearts out on that one.
So is somebody taking over, or is it?
Yeah, there's going to be somebody buying the bar. But we don't know who that is yet, or haven't established anything. But we, shout out to Susan Sargent. She's we've had us playing there so many times now. So
we've come out and listened. And June 10th,
we forward our mail there now. So
you have a mail slot. June 10th, the Moose Lodge.
Yep.
Is that for everybody?
Up in Lapine.
Lapine.
Yeah, I think they'll let you in. I don't know.
We're with the band.
They like rock and roll up there, so that's good.
Let's see, what else do we have? July 3rd, Frontier Days down in Lapine.
Yep. We're playing on, that's the day before, July 4th. And we're opening it up for, what's the band? Precious Bird. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That should be a nice crowd.
Yeah. Yep.
For you.
That'll be a lot of fun.
What else do we have? Northside Bar and Grill. That's July 27th, Sun River Village Mall. That's a fun one.
Yep.
And that's from 7 to 10 p.m.
Outdoors, especially in the summertime.
That's so cool in Central Oregon.
Yeah.
Outdoors. Those evenings.
It is, and they call that Starry Nights or whatever. I don't know, but it's a fun gig. Families, so we like that.
So talk to about the local scene, how that's, we have so many talented musicians in Central Oregon.
Yeah.
And, is there enough to go around for everybody to play, or how has it changed over the years? Or I know we're getting a lot of bands coming to town.
Yeah.
Right. I think what's happened is, Central Oregon's growing, and there's a lot of new venues to play at. But there's actually limited ability for local bands to play, because a lot of the new places they're getting touring bands, bands who are just going up and down the West Coast or whatever, so it's through booking agents or whatever, and so the locals we survive, but
We're not getting the love we should be getting.
I think there's a lot of good musicians in Bend.
And that's the big deal. Is exactly there are a lot of really talented people.
Yeah.
Right here in town, and playing all the different kinds of music. There's a couple of jazz bands in town that are just outstanding if you like that kind of music, and there's venues for that. Obviously lots of good rock and roll. There's country music. It's all here. So support your local band.
Right.
Yeah. We just did a gig out in Redmond at the Blacksmith Public House. Shout out to them. They're bringing in lots of local bands. So
he's advertising that.
Yeah,
looking for local
patronize those guys who are bringing in the local talent.
Yeah, that's a great spot to play.
Yeah, really is.
Absolutely.
Great stage, big venue, a lot of people. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you do your own booking?
I do it, yeah.
And then is that?
And we're very grateful he does it.
In between building the studio.
That's right.
That's done. but sometimes I say, I'm a guitarist, not a salesman, but I end up doing a lot during the middle of the week, going and visiting different venues and trying to get gigs. So that's what I do.
And you do private gigs, which we talked about.
Oh yeah, we play parties,
weddings, retirement parties, re-retirement parties.
Yep. All that
we don't
stuff.
do funerals, but we'll do a wake.
But a lot of people hear us playing at bars, and then they want us to play at their Christmas party. We've played at Christmas parties at Rivers Place, and different nurse groups get together, and they hire us to play for their parties. So it works out pretty good.
Is there a favorite spot or place or even a memory of something that you guys wish you could go back to? Or is it everything that we do local? Is that the sweet spot for everything? For playing?
Well,
I love Roots.
The Roots Festival?
Roots Festival. Especially last year we were playing over at the Spoken Moto when they were over by the box factory there. And it was, just perfect weather, great crowd. It was really a lot of fun. And Roots for me has tons of history because I've played Roots, I think, 4 times now. Twice in the snow, once when it was like 40 degrees and raining. So this was just a thrill. Warm weather, short sleeve shirts, playing outside. So.
Yep, I like that, and I really like.
And there's all the local musicians.
Oh yeah,
it's just bands are everywhere.
Roots Festival is just awesome.
Yeah. But I really like playing at McMiniman's too.
Yeah,
that's a great place to play because for some reason there's just the crowd there is really appreciative of our original music. They wanted to hear our original songs. I was like, what? The one song on there is a kind of a song about politics, whatever, truth to power, and most people are, when we're playing bars and stuff, they're just like, yeah, whatever. But boy, at McMiniman's, they're going, yeah, truth to power, you get the man. I'm like, okay, God, I'm glad you like that one.
Is there anything that we, the community can do, because, talking off air, talking about the locals, kind of getting squeezed out a little bit. That's how I'm kind of perceiving that. Does it help if we reach out to our local venues and be like, hey, can you, we want our locals, can you give them preferential treatment?
That would be great. That would be fantastic.
I always thought we should have a locals only card carrying thing, to let our restaurants know, hey, we're local, we're not, we're here to support. Would that help?
I think so, but it's kind of weird because you hear all these commercials, I guess for selling houses and different beer establishments or whatever, and they're saying, here's where the locals go. It's a selling point, but they don't use that as far as the bands that I've heard, other than the Blacksmith Public House.
Well, and we were talking about places we're going to play. We're also going to be playing over at Northside, and they do a lot of local bands too.
Yes, they do.
So, shout out to the Northside. They keep local bands coming in, and we're playing all the time. So yay to them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you ask what can people do? Frequent those places if that's if that's your kind of place.
Yep.
Go and listen to local bands. And
Right.
I think we will. I think we like to do that.
Yeah.
We're running out of time. I want to get one more song in. I think we're going to play Down.
Yeah.
And so I want to thank you, JustUsWorx, for coming in, Mike Ogden, Charlie Ewing, and Eric Anderson. And I hope to have you back. Hopefully we'll get you back on center stage on Saturdays where it's on for 3 hours and you can play live.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we could try that here.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I'm plan B for the musicians.
His drum set might not fit, but we'll see.
Everyone have a great evening, and we're going to finish out with JustUsWorx and Down.
Open Air is written, produced, and hosted by Don
Another
Newton.
downer. Written.